I ask you a question? Are you ready to get and keep momentum in your business? I hope so, because it's Penny Elliott here, your host, to having the perfect mix of the woo with the do. If you're ready to create the life that you want through a business designed by you, then tune in. Welcome to another episode of the Get Momentum for Online Entrepreneurs podcast with your host, me, Penny Elliott. This is the show where we match the woo with the do. So it's like your mix of mindset and strategy to be able to have that fast success in the business that you thought you were going to have when you first started. And sometimes it goes a little awry. And today I have an amazing mama, Tanessa, and I'm so excited to have you here today. And we've had a bit of a blip trying to get here because last week I was camping. And so very kind and graciously you said, yes, we could reschedule to this week. So thank you very much. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, what you do, and how you help people in this world.
Yeah, so I'm from Vancouver, Canada, and I'm a mama. Baby's 11 months old right now. But for what I do, I'm a health consultant for entrepreneurs. So specifically, like my clients come to me and they're like, I'm so tired in the morning. I can't get anything done. I can't stay focused. I have these energy crashes throughout the day. And my job, what I do is I use something called biohacking. And I go in with my clients and I help them create like energy through things like optimizing their sleep and really targeting what they're doing with their food, how they're using their brain, basically taking their brain from from running at like 50% all the way up to 90% so that they can get done what they need to get done. And I learned that firsthand. Having a baby come in, I have now compressed the amount of time that I got to get the same amount of stuff done. So everything firsthand I know works because I've had to use it myself to still run my business with a baby.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I think that's super exciting because it's like really where a lot of my passion lies as well. So I'm excited to jump into this with you. So I guess like the first thing that I always ask people, and we're going to go a little bit on a tangent here, but is consistent clients is the thing that most people struggle with, right? So how do you create a consistent flow of clients? Like what is your secret sauce?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing was for the longest time, I was like, referrals kept my business going. But then that gets to a point where you reach a tipping point, and I was like, oh, so this isn't going to be the only thing to sustain my business. So what I decided to do was like, well, my goal is just to keep meeting people. So what I actually ended up doing was I decided to find a whole bunch of other entrepreneurs who I really resonated with their messages. And because I come at kind of brain optimization and the mindset stuff from a health side, it was a wonderful complement with all these entrepreneurs I was collaborating with who were business coaches specifically. So what it really allowed me to do is to continue to help out that way. And it was just kind of a nice way to build my brand by partnering with other entrepreneurs who were business coaches, where I come in and I serve in a lot of their masterminds as a guest speaker. And my job is just to help them be really productive and optimized. So it was building my brand in a way that was adding value at the same time by collaborating with people that were serving the same audience.
Amazing. And so now that you've compressed your time down, this is where we're going to go on a little tangent, so I hope you don't mind. Now that you've compressed your time down, obviously that's not a style of consistent clients on automation, right? That's your time in front of people. How have you adapted now that you have gone from 8 or 9 luxurious hours a day to 3, 3 or 4?
Yeah. So what I had to do is I did a really hard look at my business. What was I doing in that year that worked really well that was leading to either consistent revenue or clients or success with my clients? Then I was looking at what didn't work. Like, what was I wasting my time on? And I found that so much of it was like changing my brand color. Like, oh, maybe it'll be better if it's blue instead of purple this year. And spending way too much time on Canva and video editing and the stuff that wasn't really adding value. It was just kind of making it surface pretty. So I went through that. And then the final thing I did was like, well, what can I do differently this year? And I realized that it really boiled down to what was going to grow my business was meeting people, telling them what I do, and making offers to help, which is what my business coach taught me. And so I looked at my schedule, and if it wasn't something that was either directly working with clients or creating results for them, if it didn't fall into meeting people, telling them what I do, or just genuinely helping people, it doesn't have a place on my schedule anymore. And that's how I stopped spending so many hours on like lead pages and writing the perfect email. It just is, we have to get it out there and connect with people, because that's what grows a brand.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Pretty perfect. Like, I think the reason why Canva is just in everyone's vocab is because it's almost like a social media vortex. You open Facebook and an hour goes, or now Clubhouse, you open that and hours go. And Canva's the same. You can spend your whole nap time and you're like, oh wow, I've created 5 posts.
Oh, I know, especially because now they just added the whole animation feature too. And I'm like, oh, my Instagram stories can move now. Like it's a whole nother thing, but I just love spending time on Canva, but it's not something that directly creates business and clients. So I've had to really monitor my use of that.
You had to put parental guidelines on entrepreneurial parental guidelines on your Canva usage. So another thing that I like to really highlight in this show is that it's not a straight line to the top, right? Too many people spout on about how much money they've made, and and how it's built this on this on this on this on this, and and it gets bigger and bigger. But we all know that it's not like that once we've actually been in the business of growing a business. So when have you had to really dig deep to get momentum back into your business after a setback?
Yeah, well, I started like in person as a personal trainer at the beginning. And then I quickly realized that I wanted to jump online. And that was kind of where the first jump of my business went. And I thought that the way to do that for me at the time was with online courses. Because I was like, well, that makes sense. And I don't have to, I can leverage my time. But what I didn't realize at the time, at that point in my business, was like, I didn't have an audience yet. So I put it out there and it was like crickets, and I'm selling a $97 course. And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be tough. So of course I literally just added it up the other day because I was doing a workshop, and I had launched 5 online courses before I figured out that courses weren't going to work for where I was in my business. Yeah. And they all had like 2 registrations, 3 and it was usually the same loyal 3 people who would show up for whatever I offered. And it got to the point where I was like, so maybe I need to really refine my messaging with one-on-one coaching. And as soon as I took that transition, it still took 2 years for me to get it right. My offer, my messaging, my niche. It took me about 2 years of offering before I started seeing consistent months. But there were a lot of months. There was even the first year or 2 where I was like happy to hit $1,000 in a year, because my personal training business was supplementing it so that I could have a slow takeoff. But I've said this has been a 6-year business in the making.
Yeah. So you hear that. So like a lot of people think that they can launch something and it's going to be like 6 figures straight away. And it's not always like that, And I like the fact that you've let us hear that you had your personal training, to supplement it, because so many people will give up their 9 to 5, even though personal training is more like 5 a.m. till like 10 p.m. In the middle. But the general job, I guess, to move into their own business. And a lot of people, I see, do that too quickly, and therefore they put too much pressure on their creativity and their business that it has to work. And that is stifling to any business, that it absolutely has to work. So the way that you've transitioned across is fantastic.
Well, yeah, because it takes some time to find your footing too, right? Like you don't even know, we don't know when we start what our offer is going to be. Is it going to be coaching? Is it going to be service? Like I build websites for people. Is it, you know what I mean? It's still finding that, like, what am I even going to offer? And expecting that you might get it wrong the first 2, 3, 4 years, like I did, until you figure it out. And then you're like, oh, lesson learned.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. Well, if you could go, I guess you've just kind of answered this. If you could go back to the beginning of your business, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your young entrepreneurial self?
Go meet people. Like, stop trying to do it from behind your, like, we can meet people online too. But I kept thinking that, if I just keep posting only content, they will come. Like, how we're always told, build it and they will come. And I was like, I don't get it. But what I didn't realize at the time is like, I need to be getting in front of new people
Yeah.
and exposing, getting eyeballs on what I do, actually going out, helping people, giving them value that makes a difference in their life. And I can't do that by posting on my same Instagram account.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I totally hear that. And I think a lot of people have really realized that over this COVID time when they've sat at home, that actually how important it is to reach out and reach out and reach out and not just sit there and, and all this traffic is going by, you actually have to stick your finger out to catch a ride, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So what legacy are you wanting to create and leave in this online space? So I'm quite excited to hear your answer about this because you talk a lot about energy hacks and, I'm really into that.
Yeah, I have this vision and it's so interesting. I was asked this on an interview a couple of months ago and it came to me in that moment. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, so my thing is like, a lot of entrepreneurs, we look around at each other. We're all waking up tired. We're all kind of exhausted during the middle of the day. We're all having the energy crashes. We're having trouble focusing. And it's almost just something we're like, well, that's just part of the deal. People wake up tired. And that whole concept of taking care of your health takes a back seat for most people when they're getting their business started because they think, I got to hustle, hustle, hustle. And there's no way I can sleep if I'm growing this business. But what I love the idea of is, what if you could get back in productivity the time you spend devoting to your health, because you're actually able to use those 3 hours instead of feeling like exhausted and distracted and needing a lot of coffee. So I thought it would be so fascinating, like to grow this movement to the point where this was like the go-to course or movement or program that new entrepreneurs went through, because they knew that if they set themselves up from the beginning where they knew how to sleep effectively with quality, they knew how to move, they knew what foods created clarity so they could make fast decisions and, grow their business. If they took this course, they knew they would be set up and prevent overwhelm and burnout and all of the things that become very crushing for an entrepreneur. So kind of like the go-to place that entrepreneurs go to biohack their health so that they can grow this business and enjoy it and not have it be something that sucks the life out of them.
Sorry, that's my cat. What are you doing? She's got her fingers over the edge of the desk looking, meowing. She must like your voice.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, everyone listening. So I really like that. I mean, I love that. And one of the examples that I use in my book is like I wrote a whole chapter on sleep, and I've wrote a whole chapter on nutrition, and I wrote a whole chapter on exercise and getting outside, and I wrote a whole chapter on hydration. Those are my 4 pillars that are part of my woo side. So it's not so much about crystals and oils and tapping and all these sorts of things, which I think are really important. But for me, if you don't have those 4 fundamentals right, then there's no point in getting up at 5 a.m. to write in your journal, because you are dead. So there's zero productivity in doing that. It would be better to sleep till 7, skip the journal, skip the meditation, skip the yoga, go for a quick blast for a run, sweat, and eat a really healthy breakfast, and you're going to start a whole lot more clearer. And I've had some very close friends. I mean, I've been doing this is my 5th year in business now, and we were really started our businesses at the upward slope, I guess, of online coaching. And some of them went so hard at the start, and I just thought, how are you having such a massive amounts of growth? Like, I'm doing, 35, 40 hours a week. What is going on? And I realized when I scratched under the surface, when I got into this high level mastermind with them, they were having between 3 and 5 hours sleep a night. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't, them with a badge of honor trying to say that was actually true. Like, you could see the deepening of the bags under their eyes, and like just the vacantness and the mistakes coming through. And yeah, their audience was growing, and yeah, they were making great amounts of money, but a lot of them had to stop, and when you have to stop for 6 months because of your health, then your overall productivity and wealth creation over those periods is actually the same as mine, which was a little bit slower to grow, but I got to do like, half Ironman and several marathons, and, and had all the other stuff going on with it. So I totally agree with you. And I just think what you're doing is like fundamentally essential to every entrepreneur, whether it's online or offline, however you're growing your business. You have to get that sorted first, because if you go down, your business goes down.
Oh, absolutely too. And like just being able to show up and feel like the reason we create these businesses is because we want to have, the ability to go on vacation in the middle of the week. We want the ability, like for me, I get to wake my daughter up every single day, whereas my husband still has to go into work, right? And he misses that. Like these are the things that we're building these businesses for, these experiences that we want. Yet I find just so many of like, if you don't take your health seriously, you're not present, you're exhausted and you're tired during those, so you're basically creating a life you can't even enjoy because you're so tired.
Exactly. And yeah, I totally agree with you. I just think it's fascinating, and essential. It's kind of I think it should be core elementary 101 for anyone setting up their business.
Well, that's what I had visioned, is be like, could there be the go-to spot to get all that organized before you start on your business?
Yeah, because I mean, even if you think about like Steve Jobs, when he passed away, and everyone's like, oh, well, if I get my business big enough, then I can be sick and other people can run it for me. But really, Apple hasn't been as revolutionary and life-changing since he has gone from the helm, and thousands and thousands of people worked for the business under him, and without his leadership, it really, I mean, they've made iterations to what already was a good product, but nothing revolutionary has come out since. So you really got to, like, I think, treasure yourself as the creator of your
The visionary
business. Yeah, and without looking after yourself, then that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So how can people get in touch with you? Like whether you're starting your business, middle of the business, end of the business, ready to burn out, you need to come and see you. How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So on social media, I live on Instagram at Tanessa Shears. But the best place, especially if you really just want to get a start on your energy, I created something called it's an entrepreneur's playbook. So it is my 12 favorite ways to biohack your energy. It's all kinds of things, from how to use like hot, cold showers, how to monitor your nutrition during the day so you're not getting energy highs and lows. It's like my 12 best biohacks. And I just have that on my website at tanessashears.com/energy.
Great. Well, we'll put the link to that in the show notes. I'm going to go and have a look at that as well and see if that I'm doing those 12 things. And what is sort of like my last soundbite always catches people out, but you said you'd read the questions, so you are well organized. What is your favorite one-liner that you give yourself daily to get momentum in your business?
I love my favorite thing is hard work. That's one of those things. Like I've just conditioned, like this is a belief I want to have because it is hard work to grow a business. So I love whether I'm on my spin bike, whether I'm lifting weights, whether I'm, doing a meal prep, or whether I'm, doing something in my business that's like social media posting. My favorite thing is hard work. Like if I love and live for that hard work, that's going to make this process so much more enjoyable. So I really like that challenge of this being like hard work, having to be disciplined and stick to it.
Yeah, I like that, because so many people start off like, oh, it shouldn't feel hard if you're doing the thing that you love. But
it should, though.
I find that to be quite rubbish, because like when you're doing a 2 or 3 hour run to get to marathon fitness, I'm sorry, but there's going to be parts of that where that's hard. And like I've done over 40 marathons, and there's not once that I finished a 3 hour run and gone, oh, that was easy. Like, I mean, parts of it were, but parts of it were hard work. You've got to get yourself organized, get yourself ready, get yourself so I totally agree. I think that that's a great one-liner. I love hard work, and it doesn't mean hard work is unenjoyable. That's key, right?
That's like if you're thinking about your runs, like the reason you commit at that level is because on some level you like that kind of hard work. There's something about it that you thoroughly enjoy. And I love that idea with my business. It is hard. There are definitely days I would love to just, lay in bed or watch some YouTube videos, but I'm here for the hard work because the results are worth it. It's what I really show up for. I don't show up for easy. That's not going to move the needle.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Love it. All right. Yeah. Magic. Okay, well, that started my Friday really well. So I'm off to get my nails done because it's hard work. No.
That's the reward for the hard work.
Yeah, Exactly. All right. Okay. So thanks so much for joining us and devoting some of your precious time to sharing your insights and biohacks and the fact that your energy and your own personal welfare is the cornerstone to your business. And I highly recommend going and grabbing those 12 hacks, big biohacks, because it is key. If you're not seeing results in your business, I would say 98% sure that it's not the strategy, it's not your freaking messaging, and it's certainly not your logo color. It will be what's going on inside here, and here, so it's time to go and work on that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Right, amazing. Well, now, if you guys really enjoyed this podcast episode, make sure you go to ratethispodcast.com/Penny. Follow the instructions where you can leave a review for the podcast in any platform that you have listened to this in. And also, the way that more people find out about these great interviews with amazing guests is by you leaving reviews, because we are definitely all driven by peer review. No one wants to stay in a 2-star hotel. So no one wants to listen to a 2-star podcast or a podcast with no reviews, right? So leave a review. This is your way of giving back to the world and making sure that people hear these amazing insider insights from my guests. So thanks very much, and we'll see you next week. If you love the woo with the do and you want to dive deeper into how you too can get and keep momentum in your business, then join thousands of other online entrepreneurs like yourself and head on over to Amazon and grab a copy of my book, Get Momentum, your ultimate guide to create 100K in 100 days without fear, overwhelm, and burnout. And while it's being delivered to you, you'll have time to leave a 5-star review of the podcast before you head on over to the next episode.